Today's puzzle did not go according to plan. And I actually don't think it's gonna be all that hard. I don't think I can solve this puzzle. No, I'm done. I'm done for the day. How am I going to finish this one? It's time to start cheating. You guys, this whole thing is so messy. So I saw this puzzle online. It's called The Maze of Despair. And when you look at the box, you might think that it's just a solid white puzzle. But it's actually a puzzle of a puzzle cut. Kind of similar to the puzzler from Springbok if it didn't have any colors. And you guys know that I love puzzles of puzzles. So when I saw photos of this online, I really thought the piece shapes looked unique enough that even though the image is pretty hard, I thought it would still be pretty doable. But here's my initial reaction to the pieces. Now, I will say there is one thing that I wasn't expecting, and that's the piece quality, which is not very nice. So you can see that it's printed on both sides. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but it's not even cardboard. It's almost like a really thick cardstock. Like, it feels like paper. It doesn't feel like cardboard. So looking at the back of the pieces, you can see all of these letters. And that's because if you wanted to make this easier, you could separate by letter, and then you have essentially a bunch of smaller puzzles all right next to each other. So I'm going to start by flipping and shape sorting all of the pieces right from the beginning. So I'll check back in once I'm actually in the middle of working on it. So anyway, I really thought that I could just get this puzzle, knock it out in a day, have a nice easy video. I actually don't think it's gonna be all that hard. Well, that's not what happened. This turned out to be one of the hardest puzzles I've ever done on this channel. Oh, don't you love it when you're wrong? But before we get into it, something that I'm going to be talking about later in the video is being deliberate with how you spend your time. And so let me tell you about today's sponsor, Factor, because one of my favorite things about them is how much of a time saver it is. Factor is a service where you get ready-made meals delivered right to your door. So all you have to do is heat them up in the microwave, and then you have a full meal ready to go. I mean, we all have to eat, and so something in modern life that takes up a whole lot of time is meal planning. You know, you have to decide what you want to make a shopping list, go to the grocery store, put away the groceries, cook the meal, do the dishes, put away the leftovers. Like, each step individually isn't that complicated. It's just a whole lot of steps that you have to do. But then the other end of the spectrum is like ordering a bunch of takeout, which gets really expensive and usually isn't very healthy. So the perfect middle ground, at least for my lifestyle, is Factor, where you get a bunch of meals already cooked, all ready to go. You order the meals from the website, so you get to choose exactly what you get, and you can get a big variety of different foods. Like, I literally just had a Factor meal for dinner last night after filming all day, and I was like so tired after working on this puzzle all day. Microwaving this meal was all I could do. So anyway, if you want to try it, you can go to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50puzzles to get 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50puzzles at factor75.com for 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. All right, now let's get back to the puzzle. I don't think I can solve this puzzle. I don't know what to do. I'm literally just sitting here staring. I'm not even trying pieces. I'm just looking at pieces. Okay, so I just can't do this anymore today. No, I'm done. I'm done for the day. I am done. How is this the hardest puzzle I've ever tried? Okay, let me think. Let me sleep. And we'll figure this out tomorrow. I'm gonna have nightmares about this puzzle. Ugh. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so I should have done this on-camera part, like explaining what was happening back when I was first working on this. But what I did is I did all the sorting, I did the edge, I laid everything out, and then I tried to put in a couple pieces so that I could talk to the camera about what my strategy was going to be to put in the pieces. And then in an entire hour, I put in 4 pieces. Like, by the end, I was literally just sitting there staring. I was barely even trying things. I was just so overwhelmed. So what I did is I started by obviously shape sorting. That's just what you have to do from the beginning with really difficult puzzles like these. However, as I was shape sorting, I noticed that the standard cut pieces, those piles were getting a lot bigger than any of the other shapes. So if we look at the entire table, you can see that everything on the outside here are the standard cut pieces, and there are very few of the other types of shapes. But I put together the edge before even laying anything out, and that actually went totally fine. It helps that this isn't cut perfectly, so some of the edges have a little bit more of like a black stripe on the edge. But the edge was easy, so I was like, this is gonna be fine. But then when I started trying to put in pieces, here's where I think the issue is. Most of the puzzles that I do like this, like solid color puzzles or like those extra difficult puzzles, most of them are only 500 pieces. And this puzzle is 1,000 pieces. So with the 500 piece ones, you know, it'll be tough at the beginning, but as you get like halfway through, it starts going a whole lot faster. With this one, you're doubling the amount of pieces that you have to choose from. And I really did think that since the piece shapes are so unique, that it would be difficult, but that it wouldn't be overly difficult. What I'm finding is that that's not the case. I guess maybe the pieces aren't quite as unique as I thought. And then what I did while laying them out is I tried to separate the taller pieces from the wider pieces, because then at least it cuts, you know, this one piece shape essentially in half of which pieces you're pulling from. It's not perfect though, so there is a chance that I could think it's going to be a wide piece, but that piece ended up in the tall section, so I do still have to be checking both. So the question is literally in my mind, am I going to finish this one? Here's what I think I'm going to do. It's a brand new day. I kind of have a better idea now of what I'm getting into. So I'm going to work on this for the entire length of the latest My Favorite Murder episode, which is 1 hour and 26 minutes. After another hour and a half, we'll just see if I'm making any more progress or if I need to sort of pivot directions. I don't know. We'll see. Let's try it and we'll see. Okay, so I have officially decided that I'm not going to finish this the traditional way. It's time to start cheating. We're now over 4 hours in. That was 2 hours for that last time lapse. And I managed to put in one piece connected to the border. And then I also realized that a lot of these shapes connected to each other. So I was able to pair up a lot of them. However, that doesn't really help. All it did was cut down these piece shapes in half, but I'm not actually connecting anything to the border. I do have kind of a big section going here, but again, it's not connected to anything. So after I got all these done, I was just kind of sitting there, not making any more progress. Even down here, when you have 2 outs in a row, you know that one of these has to be one of these special pieces. There's no physical way for it to be 2 of the standard shapes. But even still, I just couldn't figure out which of these pieces was gonna go there. I mean, once I have sections like this going, I can actually turn the orientation, because we can see from up here that the design, all of the puzzle pieces are wider than they are tall. So this one is actually gonna go either like that or like that. And so, you know, I'm making little tiny bits of progress, and I could sit here for another I don't know, 20 hours and just work my way through it and eventually get to the point where it starts going a little faster. But there are so many more interesting puzzles here in this studio that I really should be covering. Like, this should not be happening. So here's the new plan. So they definitely anticipated this, because when you flip over the pieces, you can see that they're divided up by letters. I'm pretty sure it's only A through F. I think it's only divided into 6 sections, but I'm not totally sure about that, so we'll find out. But instead of dividing everything by letter, instead, I'm going to try to build all of these lines between them. So that should give us a nice grid, and that's going to give us 2 things. It's going to give me more things to work off of, and it's going to take a big handful of pieces out of my, potential pieces to choose from. And so then I can try to work on it again. If I'm still not making progress, then I can fully divide by letter. But okay, I'm excited about this again. I think the lines should be way easier. But I mean, maybe I should hold off on calling anything about this puzzle easy. Okay, let's see how this goes. All right, well, I guess I'll just be here flipping for the next, hour? Wait, how do none of these have lines on them? Oh man, what am I doing? What am I? Oh, there's one, okay. But still, what am I doing? Okay, this is way better. I almost forgot what it feels like to actually be able to put in puzzle pieces. I mean, this is fine. Maybe I should flip the entire thing over. Look at that, that took like 2 seconds. Okay, where does this connect? It has to be like somewhere around half. Oh wait, unless I have the entire thing flipped over. Yeah, okay, so the A is down here. Whoops. Look at that, like magic. I finally have some pieces in place. Wait, so if this is A, this is gonna be D, E, B. Okay. Okay, look. So I've just been sitting here for like the last 20 minutes looking at all these pieces and just like getting so overwhelmed and just like, I just want to move on from this puzzle. I just want to be done with this puzzle. So you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna just separate by letter. I'm just gonna fully do it. I'm fully gonna use the entire backs of the pieces. Like, I can't sit here staring at all of these pieces for so many more hours. I kind of thought that doing the lines would get rid of a lot more pieces, but there's still so many left. So we're just gonna turn this 1,000-piece puzzle into 6 300-piece puzzles. That's not right. So we're just gonna turn this puzzle into 650-piece puzzles, and I will be much happier, and we can all just move on and forget this ever happened. And I can go back to doing actually fun and high-quality puzzles. All right, I have everything separated out. I'm starting this first section at 5:05, 5 hours and 5 minutes in. Let's see how long one of these sections will take. I really hope I can finish this today. It's already, what, 3:45? Okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. Okay, wait, I was just starting to move these out and spread them out, and I suddenly had a thought. Since I have them all flipped over this way, I can arrange them like to the orientation that I know they're going to be at once they're in the puzzle. So do I do that, or do I just keep it random? I don't know. Do I fully just lean into it now, or do I try to give their like a little semblance that I'm actually solving this for real? Okay, for the first one, I'm gonna try keeping it random. Okay, I am. And we're gonna see how long that takes. Okay, compared to yesterday, today should be a little easier. Right, we're up to day 3 of this puzzle of a puzzle. As you saw, last night I solved 2 of the sections. Today, I'm pretty sure I can finish it up. But as I was laying out the pieces for this next section I'm going to finish, I suddenly had a brainstorm of a mistake that I think I made this entire puzzle solve. There's one thing I think I could have done that could have made it a whole lot easier. So let's just look at this. Like, if we were gonna be looking for this piece, that's a pretty unique shape to be searching for. You know, this is kind of a diagonal side. We have this little curve right there. This out is kind of tilted over to the side. So that's definitely something that's findable. But then if we come over to the pieces, something about this black line, it's almost like an optical illusion where it makes your eyes dance all around and it's hard to really focus on the piece shape. So I did actually find that piece through the camera viewfinder. So yes, that is correct. But I realized that if I had just put it on a black background this entire time, I think that would have made the piece shapes so much easier to see. Like, I kind of had it in my head, as long as it's not on a white background, the pieces aren't going to blend in and I'll be able to see. But look at this. So we take these and we put them on here, and suddenly the contrast is so much greater. Like, I can see these so much more easily than I can see these. I don't know if it's like fully translating on camera, but in person, it's definitely a pretty stark difference. So maybe if I had just done it, like covered the table in black from the beginning, maybe I would have been able to do it, you know, without separating everything out. But I mean, who knows? I'm not going to try it again. You're welcome to try it at home if you really want to. So I'm going to put all the pieces onto black, and then let's see if this one goes any faster than the other sections. And here we go. 3 pieces left, and then I'm done with this forever. All right, 1 piece left. And this is it. This is the very last one. And, oh, let me stop the time. And I'm done. Well, this has been a journey. I feel like I've lived so many lifetimes just working on this puzzle. I'm so happy it's done. That was 10 hours, 2 minutes, and 37 seconds, even with looking at all the backs of the pieces. I'm so happy to never have to do that one again. Okay, so I did it. And as always, I have a bunch of things to say about this puzzle. First, I just want to say that anytime I refer to cheating on this puzzle, I'm doing so very loosely and playfully. I mean, the letters on the back are a tool that is given to you by this puzzle, so it's not really cheating to use all of the tools that are available to you. You know, there is no right or wrong way to get to this final answer. And this year, I'm really trying to use my time wisely. You know, if you're working on a puzzle and you're not having fun, or if you do half of a puzzle and then the other half of it isn't fun, I'm all for either changing your strategy, like I did here, or just packing it up and putting it away. So when I was staring down hundreds of similar looking pieces, I just had to swallow my pride, take that to heart, and change my strategy. But I will say, once I did split it up and do 6 smaller puzzles, that was the perfect amount of pieces for this type of image. It was still challenging, but it wasn't frustrating anymore. And doing that allowed us to unexpectedly come away from this with a bunch of data. So here you can see my times for each section of the puzzle, plus the conditions that I did it in. So you can see that when the pieces were oriented randomly, it took me over an hour. But when I used the design on the back to get them oriented correctly from the beginning, I cut that time in half. So you really can customize this puzzle for exactly how difficult you want it to be. You know, if you wanted a more medium level puzzle, you could combine 2 or 3 of these sections. It's actually very similar to giant puzzles where they come broken up into different sections and you have to decide whether or not to mix the bags. Only this time it's on, a slightly smaller scale. And so I actually think this type of puzzle is something that we see in the puzzle world quite a lot, is people thinking there's just a single scale from easy to difficult, and that it just gets crazier and crazier if you keep cranking up the difficulty as far as it can go. But when it comes to solving jigsaw puzzles, you have two variables. You have the picture and you have the piece shape. And so going back to the Springbok solid yellow puzzle, that one was a solid color, so it was a 10 out of 10 image difficulty, but the piece shapes were about as unique as you can get. And so that one was very fun. Then the Heinz puzzle, again, was a solid color, so a 10 out of 10 image, but the pieces were very uniform. So it wasn't fun, it was just frustrating. If you remember, I didn't finish it. So this one isn't quite that bad. I mean, the piece shapes are pretty unique, and you do have somewhat of a design, but it just didn't hit that fun sweet spot. It was definitely still out there and frustrating, especially if you try to do all 1,000 pieces all at once. And so I just want to make it clear that this is a mass-produced, no-name brand that I would not recommend. On Amazon, it's basically the same price as a Ravensburger, and look at how awful these pieces are. Like, it's not even cardboard, it's really thick cardstock. And if you put a piece in the wrong spot, and then you tried to take it apart, the paper would peel up really easily. So, I don't know, I guess it's fine, like, as a novelty, as something crazy for me to try here on this channel. But for 99% of puzzlers out there, I don't think this is something you need to own. I mean, for essentially the same price, you can get my version of this exact concept, and it's way more colorful, way easier, way more fun, way better quality. So let me know down in the comments, would you have done what I did and sorted by background letter? Or would you have powered through? Or would you have just put the whole thing away and not even finished it? Your code word for the comments will be despair. I guess it is kind of a fitting title in the end. So thank you for watching, happy puzzling, and I hope that you're doing a puzzle that's a lot more fun than this one.